Just be like the pattern. The vibes are off, dude. We gotta bomb the hospital.
Right.
But then the government has to come out,
Hey,
and
these-
real people have to defend the actions of a fucking computer program.
Howdly doodly, fuckwads.
Welcome to MKUsual.
Sorry.
It's like, yeah, I know, it's good. It's like MK Ultra.
But more normal.
It is TinFoil Friday. Nick's cooked some stuff up.
It's okay. We're gonna cover the stuff that's above ground, and then I have like a parallel to draw, and then we can go from there.
And go nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is our topic?
Our topic focuses on Peter Thiel, who is the founder of Palantir. It's a artificial intelligence company. He was in the what's known as the PayPal mafia. Elon Musk. He was one of the founders of PayPal. There's like 10 of them.
Peter Thiel,
I was gonna look up the meaning of Palantir, but I forgot.
57 years old,
Yeah, Palantir means farseer.
former CEO of PayPal. Farseer, okay.
Yeah, and then he's like a venture capitalist. He invested in like Airbnb, Yelp.
$14 billion.
He rich. Born in Germany, moved to America, went to Harvard or Stanford. It was like a philosophy degree from one of those places. Went on to Palantir was founded in 2003 with funding from MKUsual, which is the CIA's venture capital firm. They weren't the only investor, but so that's
They have CIA money.
they started, yeah, and then I'll give you a couple examples later, but they have DoD contracts, they have U.S. Army contracts, they one of them is what I want to focus on, but I'll give you the other ones as reference. So the U.S. ICE, the Immigration Service, used his data mining tools for border security during the Trump administration. They were awarded.
Great job.
They worked with the British NHS, National Health Service, I think. Data integration for federated data platform, trying to make patient care more efficient because they have like a socialized or state medical system. So trying to make them.
They got their hands in everything, but they're all AI.
Yeah, it's all AI. It took the fraud detection algorithm from PayPal, and he just expanded it with not a stated purpose of becoming a private intelligence service, but that's basically what it is.
So just so the big dorks don't get on us, Palantir is actually from the Lord of the Rings. It's what J.R. Tolkien named one of the seeing stones, one of the crystal balls.
Okay.
So he's constructing a crystal ball.
Yeah.
MKUsual that's crazy. I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
Or the CIA have a venture capital firm.
So they can privatize all their research and findings and doesn't have to be disclosed to the public.
Seems like something that shouldn't be legal.
Yeah. And then they also worked with the Israeli Defense Force. They entered a strategic partnership to provide services for war-related missions, notably targeting targets in Gaza.
Oh, okay.
For the last few years.
Okay.
Questionable. He was on Joe Rogan, did a 3.5-hour interview with Joe Rogan. Joe never asked him about Palantir. He never said one word about Palantir. They talk about
That had to have been agreed on.
yeah. Oh yeah. That was the vibe I got. They talk about conspiracy theories. He does have some he thinks the pyramids were power station. He's openly libertarian and says that he doesn't get involved in politics or elections. but he will take Defense Department contracts to the tune of several $1 billion. Okay, so the U.S. Army paid him to develop what is called Titan, which is the Technical Intelligence Targeting Access Node, and it collects and disseminates sensor data to inform mission command and long-range precision fire. So it collects data from... This is also the same type of programs that ICE is using. It's basically, it is a crystal ball, and he just takes this and applies it to whatever. Like say on the border, they have these, one type of sensor would be a ground sensor that detects like vibration. So they could like track the pack of coyotes in the area and look down at the satellite, see that this sensor's going off, and a thermal image will say, oh, that's a pack of coyotes. Or if it goes off again an hour later, and they look down and see people coming across the border or whatever, it integrates. They have sound detection, they have signals intelligence, which is like phone communication, aerial surveillance, radar, ground penetrating radar, cyber sensors, which is like malware and communications online, biochemical sensors. It's integrating information from all of these sources
to make like a coherent picture of what's going on
in real time, and then to predict patterns and give directive in real time to people like, oh, this thing is happening. We need supplies to get here in 3 days, and this is the closest place, so they send them from here. Or we need a ground team to go into this house in Syria or whatever. It's like compiling all it. Well, I would
keep going.
Okay. Well, the project I wanted to focus, this is where I got hung up, because I was like, oh, this is like, it's whatever. Maybe not nefarious, but the DoD in May,
May of this year?
Actually, the project is called Project Maven. That was a Defense Department project. That was started in April 2017 with the stated purpose of taking real-time drone footage, like the drones that just kind of circle, take pictures, look for vehicles and movements that are out of place. And it was done by humans before that. They were taking this and trying to, oh, this guy's going to the grocery store, not a big deal. This guy, oh, why is he going here on Wednesday? That's out of his like pattern.
I got you.
So that was done by humans, and they started this project to use AI to, speed it up, get real-time data. And then he got the contract to apply his technology in May of 2024 to the tune of $480 million. Project Maven. So it uses AI to process data from satellite imagery, geolocation data, and automatically detect potential targets. This is Minority Report.
Uh-huh.
It's pre-crime. And that...
This is what they use to know where we're all going.
Yes.
What we're all doing. Is this why when I get in my car at a certain time of the day, Google Maps automatically thinks I'm going to the gym or work or...
Yes.
Okay.
It was originally a Google project until 2018.
Okay.
And the employees protested. There was a lot of pushback. A lot of pushback from the Google people. Let me see. I got some notes here.
And while you're looking it up, can I read off some stuff that MKUsual is?
Yes.
They've invested in companies, quite a lot of things. How about these? How about 3D holographic displays and holography, 3D facial images, phone speech analytics.
That is one of,
So you can listen to people's phone calls. Social media monitoring. This is all from Wikipedia.
Yeah. the part of the like language processing part of this software or this AI. It's not software, it's AI at this point, and it's into like machine learning, which is feedback from sensors and allowing the AI to begin to make decisions for itself and operate somewhat autonomously. And then it gets into deep learning, which is creating a neural network, digital brain essentially that was thinking and making decisions autonomously in real time.
Okay.
And the surveillance program was originally, the Pentagon had a program called Total Information Awareness, TIA, and they got a ton of fucking pushback. And that was like after 9/11, before the Patriot Act, I think.
Yeah.
And then they're like, people were like, fuck no, this is crazy. And then that's when they privatized it. They gave a contract to Palantir, essentially.
Well.
And that was after the CIA invested through In-Q-Tel to start Palantir. So the Pentagon came up with this program. They were trying to do it on their own.
Yeah.
But because it was public knowledge, people figured it out pretty quick, and then they were like, no. So then they rebranded. Whitney Webb is a journal. I don't know if you know her.
No, I don't think so.
She's like been following this shit forever and writes amazing articles and interviews about this stuff. That's where I got a lot of my information from. If you're interested in this stuff, Whitney Webb, she's all over the internet. You can find her articles, and she's very public, open about what she's learned. Until she dies of 2 gunshot wounds to the back of a head, suicide. That's where I'm going to get my information. Public health surveillance is something else. Palantir's Tiberius platform was utilized to manage vaccine distribution.
Oh, great. Dude, I'm going... Okay, I'm trying to sidetrack you. I'm clicking on these companies the CIA invested in. A lot of them just get acquired and put into normal shit we use.
What do you mean acquired?
So, for instance, there's...
In-Q-Tel acquires them?
No. In-Q-Tel helps start them.
Oh, I see.
And then they'll start, here's an example. They start this company that does, it tracks people's searches. And then that company gets bought by Oracle. And then it gets integrated into, normal, everyday.
Okay.
So, the CIA is, straight up. So, with this type of shit, the CIA is basically doing this.
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially.
That's scary.
Not on paper. Well, they have breaks in the,
Well, that's what I'm saying. It looks like what happens is they start a company that's working on a project, analyzing your voice when you're talking to a friend on the phone. That gets bought by AT&T. So the CIA's washed their hands of it, but then there's just this freaking project.
They have analysts from the investors who are CIA.
They get money.
Working, yeah. And then, so that was another thing they said, is that once he took the money to start Palantir, he had access to their analysts and everything they found to basically they're putting all their fucking eggs in, they're joining forces essentially. And he's openly libertarian, which kind of aligns with his philosophy. Privatizing this systems management,
right?
Not paying the government to do it. I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but okay, the Project Maven is where I got completely fucking hung up, because it's somewhere between iRobot and Minority Report.
Okay.
Because the robot in iRobot is it becomes aware. It's like what they would call, it gets into the deep learning ability. It creates its own neural network. It knows that. Have you seen iRobot? Do you know that? Okay.
Yeah.
So like he gets saved, Will Smith gets saved, and the girl dies because he had a slightly better percentage chance of survival. But the human thing is that he saves the girl, and that's the right thing to do.
Right.
But the robot was just programmed to just crunch the numbers and pull the person who's most likely to survive.
Okay.
He loses his arm, but then he gets the robot arm, so he's like resentful. So it's like it's getting to a point where I don't want to say that. It's like the Minority Report side is the pre-crime. They see the pattern. This person gets angry at his wife. He comes home early. He blah, blah, blah. All these off patterns. They detect his voice is upset when he talks to her. So they send cops to stop him before he commits the crime.
Uh-huh.
But he never would have done.
Yeah.
It's a presumption. So I don't
So
know.
what is Project Maven? What does it do?
It takes information in real time, satellite imaging, and it identifies targets
Okay.
to gather intel on, to strike, to whatever the army needs.
Okay.
That's what it does. It might identify like a rogue who's going to blow up a mosque, and then it'll give you that information. Or it'll be like, oh, we need it does so much. It does so much.
All right. Can it track us while we wear our helmets?
No.
Okay.
Yes, actually. Unfortunately.
Is this stuff being deployed on civilians? I mean, it probably is, right?
Well, like, it is in the public health air
Right.
service. Google has their own version of this that they didn't want. They had that. Google had their shit up to 2018. They were working on Project Maven until 2018. So
Google's CIA too,
yes.
which is great.
So definitely maybe.
Okay.
But like almost certainly yes. It's just done by Google and Palantir, not the U.S. government or the DoD or the Pentagon or whatever.
Yeah, it's like saying CBS isn't the CIA,
Yes.
I mean, it's like...
Yeah.
If they want this shit, they're going to get it. They're going to tell the company what to do.
Right. No one's going to say no to a $480 million paycheck.
Well, we know like the Intel companies or the Intel agencies were manipulating like Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that. So why wouldn't they?
Project Mockingbird is
Mockingbird is the media
60s, I think. Yeah.
Actually, I think it started at like World War II and it went like up into the. It's still real. They're still doing it. You wouldn't give up that kind of power, but
they just rename the project and
make it more dark and more disturbing. And
yeah.
Why wouldn't you use it for the company that tracks where everyone's going?
Right. Yeah. And it can be used. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's like scared of AI. And that's a legitimate fear because AI is operating on directives. It cannot form its own thoughts. Right. It can't operate autonomously. What can is a program that has been allowed the machine learning and allowed to like take the information. It's given that directive. So it develops the intelligence. And then it's like, there's a story about AI where like it was given a task and it needed to read a CAPTCHA and it couldn't do it, so it hired someone on Fiverr.
Huh.
It had money, paid a human being on Fiverr to break the CAPTCHA, and then it like went on to the next step of the thing. There's also like
That's crazy.
yeah. So like that's like machine learning and then deep learning level of AI, which that could be a benevolent thing. It might see that some humans are bad and some are good,
Yeah.
and it could intervene. But if it's just what's the guy's name? Asimov, the 3 rules.
Yeah, Isaac Asimov.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like protect humans, don't harm humans, blah blah blah.
Huh.
Of course, yes, an artificial intelligence could be evil, but it could also be a benevolent thing. I just don't know. I just don't understand it enough to.
Here's a great headline from February of 2024. AI chatbots tend to choose nuclear strikes in war games.
It's the most efficient, you know? It's like, there's no sense in perpetuating destruction when it can.
My only problem with AI is that, and I like using it for stuff, but it's fake. It's fake intelligence. It's not real intelligence. It's a tool
Yes.
that in fact, just today,
It's like you can have a conversation with a person and they can choose words and you think they're smart, but then you watch their behavior.
Yeah.
You can see they don't really understand what they're saying.
yeah, that's a good example. Before you got home, I was messing around. Have you seen they're procedurally generating video games now?
I don't know what that means.
So, so the first one I think was Doom, but they've now done Minecraft, and I was playing the Minecraft. And basically what that means is, normally if you're playing a video game, there's like a program with like assets, and it's programmed. So it's like, here's the physics of the world. You're a character. This wall is its own thing. If you run into the wall, like you and the wall interact in the code. This procedural generation is they basically just show this AI, they just show it thousands and thousands of hours of these games, and there's no game code. It's literally just giving you picture by picture of what it thinks should happen, frame by frame, based on what it's seen. There's no game engine.
Okay.
You were not distinct. Yeah, and it was kind of wild. But this got me thinking. I was playing AI generated Minecraft, and I was just running around. And what I noticed was, so the thing's just showing you what it thinks should be next. If I would look at the ground and then look up, everything would change. Like if you just look at the ground and look up everything would change. There was no permanency. And then like if you were to run up to like a wall and then turn around, everything would change. And I got it to do some really messed up stuff. Like I was running through a field of grass, just like pulling up the grass, and it was like out of nowhere, everything's lava. You know what I'm saying? Like it freaked me out, because I felt like the only thing that I've ever seen comparable to this is a dream.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this is a forest, but it's not really a forest. But when I turned around, and there was a mountain that wasn't there before, and then I went through this dark wall, and next thing you know, I was in the snow. Like, and it kind of got me worried that maybe that's what dreams are. But I mean, my point here is that like, AI doesn't know anything. It's just, it's like when you talk to ChatGPT, it's just saying what it thinks ChatGPT is no different than the AI Minecraft. It's having hallucinations, and it's just saying what it thinks the next thing is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So literally, like if I were to type in right now, what year did the Civil War end? Okay. It will tell me 99,999 out of quadrillion, 1865. It'll tell me the right answer. But it actually doesn't know that. It's not polling. It's not going and looking at a source and then like, I know what it's doing is it just knows that those words go together. Mm-hmm. It's a hallucination. It's not real intelligence. It doesn't know anything. So what scares me is AI knows nothing. It's just doing the next thing. I'll tell you right now, last week, I used ChatGPT to help me put together some of those time travel stories. We had to start over because one of them, the rest ended up being fine. One of them that you did not see because we completely restarted the episode over was literally giving me different dates for the same event, like in the same story. And so my whole point is the scariest thing to me is the trust people put in it.
Yes.
They think it's like talking to a person because it feels like talking to a person, and it is incredible, and it can tell you things.
Right.
I once got ChatGPT to tell me that it would be faster to ride a horse to the moon than an Apollo 11 rocket because it doesn't know math.
Okay.
It just makes math things that look the way they're supposed to look. So what scares me about this shit, if we're talking precog crime,
Yeah.
is it's literally AI doesn't know anything.
Right.
It's not even the moral quandary that you can't go after someone for something, the crime they haven't committed. It's that it literally hallucinates shit. You could get up tomorrow and be like, I'm getting in shape, and go take a jog down the street and go buy the wrong apartment somewhere with some ex you don't even know lives there, and you leave your cell phone behind, and in the algorithm it's like you're stalking somebody. Or if she winds up dead or something, it's like,
Yes.
it's like, it means nothing, and it scares me because we're taking things that mean nothing and giving them ultimate value, but then there's things that mean things that because of technology we don't give them any value.
This isn't a system that's going to like lead soldiers to small acts of joy and kindness.
Right.
It's just gonna, I don't know.
This is what they're using in Gaza, you said?
They use it in Gaza.
Probably used it in a lot of places. Syria. I bet it's operational
Anywhere.
in Ukraine.
Most likely. I mean, Project Maven is a DoD project. It's just outsourced to
Right.
Palantir. So yeah, that was their. I mean, they had that goal.
Skynet.
In 2003. It's literally it's Skynet. The project is the Israeli military, according to Whitney Webb, Palantir assisted Israel in developing the AI-driven Lavender system
What is this?
used by the Israeli military to target locations in Gaza.
That's terrifying. It's terrifying to fire a missile at people
At a hospital.
because the computer seems like there's some clues here.
Well, it's like they have to give it a goal. They have to give it an objective.
And we already know it doesn't care if it nukes everything.
Yeah.
So
Also, this Palantir system, she's saying they had involvement in efforts to undermine WikiLeaks and target whistleblowers.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they were trying to track leaks, sources of information, and disrupt them. So here's another conspiracy. The gang stalking thing, which I don't know if you're familiar.
Somewhat.
That goes back to humans came up with that. And it's like in the Second World War, I think is when it started. It was a German tactic to suss out spies, like resistance fighters that were in Germany. And so if they suspected you, they would gather intel on you. They would follow you to work. They would always be at the same corner wearing the same outfit every day when you went to work. And then they would see you stop and get a coffee, and they would say something as you walked by, like, your Aunt Gertrude is but they would mention something that was so specific to you that no stranger could know, but they would say it like in a conversation with their partner as you walk by.
It's like the Truman Show and the radio fucks up and it's like he's taking a left on.
Yes.
It'd be like if you did that to someone intentionally to drive them insane.
Yeah, and that's the point. It's to disrupt them, and then they get scared and their pattern breaks and they go back to their rebel hideout. That's to break you off of your pattern, to determine who you are, gather intelligence about you. It's like this could be used to do that. It could show you an ad over and over and over on your phone until you start to think, oh, I do need a sharp vacuum for the house that has no carpet in it. Or I don't know.
Or it could theoretically, we're looking at all this other stuff the CIA has its hands in. It could
to churn you, say you're anti-vaccine.
It could mess with your texts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could send a text to someone and then delete it. And then that person thinks you're fucking crazy for the rest of your life. And you have no idea. So you'll come across as absolute psychopath because you're operating on whatever relationship you had. You say something crazy in a text you never sent, and then...
Or it can just isolate you. It can just shut everything off, make it not work for a minute.
Right.
Just to fuck with you.
Yeah. It can do so many things. I don't know. These are all just nefarious.
The bombing thing's nuts because...
Yeah.
Traditionally, I would assume the way you pick a target is you have satellite imagery or you have spies and you have good intelligence that you saw these people going in there. You have pictures on the inside. The people are vetted.
Yeah.
To just be the pattern, the vibes are off, dude. We got to bomb the hospital.
Right.
But then the government has to come out
and
real people have to defend the actions of a fucking computer program.
Right.
And have to come out and make policy statements and be we're justified. You could not come out and say the computer messed up.
No.
That would destroy anybody's belief in your moral legitimacy.
Yeah.
If they knew to what extent we probably use this stuff. I'm sure it's very effective, though. I bet it is probably right more often than it's not. It probably knows stuff people don't.
Yeah.
But is that a good reason to... Just because something's effective...
Right.
Does that mean we should be using it?
I think the argument is that if it's right 1% more often than humans, that's a moral good. Even if it gets a whole different set of things wrong, it's still going to come down to some utilitarian justification. It's not going to be I don't know.
Now, of course, you can't. Now, that's the other thing. I mean, this is messing with things on levels we don't understand. Okay, so I heard yesterday that an AI model for the first time has perfectly predicted the weather for 15 days in a certain area.
Okay.
And then I heard last week they did a study where an AI system so outperformed doctors in making diagnoses that when the doctor got involved, it actually was worse than the AI just operating completely autonomously. The doctor didn't even help it. It hurt. So that's operating on levels of information our brains
we don't have the bandwidth.
We can't do it.
Yeah.
We have to build models and talk to each other and all that stuff. So you apply that to war, you really can't compare war or crime. You really can't compare the decisions it's making to the decisions we would make because it's going to draw patterns in a way that it's impossible for us to do.
Yeah.
So it's going to draw connections between things that may not even be there or that we don't notice. There could be patterns.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean this person did this or, I don't know.
I had a conversation with a military dude a long time ago, and he was very I was we're in Iraq for the oil, and he was yes, but what are the second and third order effects of just stopping oil production? The fucking economy would collapse, supply chain would break, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, you're not wrong that oil is bad, but like, say you could flip the switch tomorrow, would you do it? And then I was like, oh yeah, of course, it's so bad. He's like, well, imagine what the second order, like immediately people would become isolated, the supply chain would break down, then the economy, and then like people would starve to death, and there would be just millions of deaths compared to 1 million civilians and soldiers in Iraq, compared to billions of people that would die over the same course of time that we were in Iraq.
Right.
And so like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like operating on 6th and 7th and 8th order effects that we can't even fucking.
Is that moral though? Like,
we don't know. Like we can't even answer
completely
that.
Amoral. Well, yeah, because it's like, okay, it's like
we can't fully comprehend its decision that it's making.
Right.
We can only see what happens after.
But we can give it its objectives.
Yes, we can. But then it's...
Yeah, but even if you said, we're going to give you control of all the weapons, save as many lives as possible, it might just nuke China out of nowhere because it determined that in 100 years...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. This really went places. Thank you.
Yeah. Project Maven. The expansion. They did all the stuff we were talking about: operational planning, targeting and precision warfare, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, but expansion to multi-domain command and control, autonomy research, such as unmanned vehicles and AI-driven tactical systems. So yeah, their goal is to give autonomy to unmanned.
I don't like that.
Vehicles to the system. So like, say you have like the autonomous Amazon trucks, but they're military vehicles taking supplies or weapons or wherever. Like they will. That's the goal, is to create a system that doesn't. It's probably made some judgment that it's cheaper to charge a battery than it is to feed soldiers.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Skynet.
Terminator coming to a world near you.
Yeah.
Good research. Is there anything else you want to throw in?
The only other thing is kind of off topic. It's Palantir. The Whitney Webb says, she also said that J.D. Vance, that Palantir Peter Thiel specifically mentored and financially supported J.D. Vance, which some people like. I don't know a lot about him. I feel like people feel like he just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Like he wasn't he was a military dude and then became a politician. She's saying that
interesting.
His network connections and donations were instrumental in Vance's selection. And Donald Trump, he granted these contracts for the vaccine distribution. Other stuff during his presidency went to.
So we're gonna see what this guy's made of here.
I think that's it.
We're going to see what happens.
Yeah. The thing is, the Joe Rogan thing blew my mind a little bit too. 3.5 hours.
Never mentioning it. That's like, you aren't going to fucking ask me about this.
Yes.
Or we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan too, not an easy guy to control.
Right.
He famously just told Kamala to fuck off because she wanted to only do an hour and you do it at my place. And
like maybe one of Peter Thiel.
This is like real power though.
What do you mean?
This is like, this Peter Thiel, like the people involved in this shit. This is like sci-fi movie.
It's a Bond
This is real power, yes.
Yeah.
Not like it doesn't derive from your money or your status or your. This is a guy who is in the deep shit.
Right.
He's like making the missiles type shit. Like, forgot I was wearing this. All right, Peter Thiel. Please don't read our minds.
Please do not accurately predict the next time I'm going to jerk off and watch me on my phone.
Oh yeah, I'm due for that here.
Yeah, I guess in other news, the communist revolution started this week.
What? Oh, yeah. The United CEO. I'm going to do some research on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard some rumblings. I mean, obviously, we all think it's a dude whose like family member died.
Yeah.
Or he's just like a leftist.
He was staying in a hostel before he did that.
There's also some stuff where like I knew what he was doing. He had his tracks covered. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he knew how to operate that weapon pretty. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I want to salute you. I'm going to go die.
Yeah, Dennis
See you later.
Contracted malaria. He was in Borneo this week.
Apologize for coughing throughout this episode. Peace out. We love you.
We love you. Good night.